noong Enero 25, 2026 sa exclusive private dinner party na ginanap sa upscale Italian restaurant called Bellissimo sa Bonifacio Global City, Taguig, kung saan approximately 200 guests from Philippine entertainment industry ay naggather para sa birthday celebration ng kilalang producer-director na si Marco Santos na 60 years old at nag-produce ng dozens ng successful teleseries at films over his 40-year career sa showbiz. Si EMAN Bacosa, 31 taong gulang, acknowledge Dison ni Manny Pacquiao na publicly revealed through DNA testing noong 2023, triggering massive media frenzy at complicated integration sa Pacquiao family, na had since built modest pero legitimate career bilang brand ambassador at occasional television personality capitalizing on his compelling underdog narrative, despite ongoing public debate about whether his opportunities stemmed from merit versus famous surname. Accidentally, had completely unexpectedly bumped into, literally, physically collided with kasi both were distracted looking at phones while walking. Si Jillian Ward, 26 years old, established Kapuso actress na started career as child star approximately 20 taon earlier at age 6 noong 2006, appearing sa various GMA shows before breaking out sa drama series Trudis Liit na made her household name, na had successfully transitioned from child actress to leading lady over past decade, starring in multiple romantic comedy series at drama specials, earning her reputation as versatile performer with strong fan base, particularly among younger audiences who grew up watching her. Collision resulted in Jillian almost dropping her wine glass, na EMAN caught reflexively preventing spill, moment na lasted maybe 3 seconds physically, pero na sparked something unexpected emotionally, brief eye contact where both paused slightly longer than polite stranger interaction would typically warrant. Jillian noticed that EMAN had kind eyes at gentle smile when he apologized profusely for not watching where he was walking. EMAN noticed that Jillian had warmth to her expression that seemed genuine rather than celebrity performance smile he'd encountered from other showbiz personalities who treated him with barely concealed calculation about whether associating with Pacquiao connection was beneficial. At kung ordinary circumstances, ito would have ended as forgettable brief encounter between two people sa crowded party who exchanged pleasantries, then moved and with their separate social circles. Pero what neither anticipated was that approximately 5 entertainment journalists and photographers, strategically positioned throughout venue, capturing candid moments for celebrity gossip coverage, witnessed entire interaction and immediately recognized potential compelling narrative. EMAN Bacosa, at Jillian Ward's sweet moments a party, and snapped multiple photos ng brief encounter from various angles catching the slightly prolonged eye contact, the hand-steadying wine glass, the genuine smiles exchanged. Photos now would be published next day sa multiple entertainment websites at social media pages, with captions speculating about chemistry at Bagay Sila, triggering immediate public reaction, where thousands ng netizens who saw photos began commenting variations ng, "Ang cute nila together," "Ship ko na sila," "Sana mag-love team." Enthusiastic response that entertainment industry insiders immediately recognized as potentially monetizable public interest, leading talent managers, network executives, and producers to suddenly take serious interest sa possibility ng deliberately pairing EMAN at Jillian professionally sa teleserye or film prospect that would force both of them to navigate complicated questions about authenticity versus commercial calculation, about developing genuine connection versus performing manufactured romance for cameras, about protecting personal lives versus capitalizing on public fascination, and ultimately about what it means to fall in love, or think you're falling in love. When every moment is scrutinized by millions of invested fans who have projected their romantic fantasies onto your relationship before you've even determined if relationship actually exists. Kumusta mga kaibigan? Bago ako magsimula sa absolutely kilig at surprisingly complex story na ito tungkol kay EMAN Bacosa, acknowledged son ni Manny Pacquiao na naging brand ambassador at TV personality, at Jillian Ward, Kapuso actress na nag-start bilang child star at successfully transitioned to leading lady, at kung paano ang accidental collision nila sa party noong Enero 2026 na nag-spark ng instant public shipping at demands para sa love team, culminating sa actual teleserye project na brought them together professionally pero also unexpectedly personally, creating complicated situation kung saan hindi nila sure kung feelings ay genuine o manufactured by showbiz machinery. Gusto kong malaman kung nasaan kayo nanonood ngayon. Mag-comment kayo below with detailed location. Taga saan ba kayo? Manila kung saan nangyari ang party? Cebu, Davao, other parts ng Pilipinas? Or abroad, Saudi, Dubai, USA, Canada, UK, Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan? Tell me also kung sino favorite love teams ninyo. Kath Neal, Liz Quen, Don Bell, May Ward, other pairings. Kasi this story touches fundamental questions about love teams. Are romantic feelings real or part ng performance? Can genuine connection develop when entire relationship is public spectacle? Share your perspectives kasi maraming fans have strong opinions about authenticity versus fan service. Ito ay story about accidental connection, about manufactured romance versus real emotions, about navigating fame and expectations, about what happens when showbiz fantasy might become reality. Subscribe, activate notifications, like, share widely kasi this story reveals truth na love teams are complicated intersection ng business, performance, at potentially genuine human connection. Simulan natin. Si EMAN Bacosa ay ipinanganak noong Marso 8, 1994. Essentially exactly 32 years before ang party encounter with Jillian sa Cagayan de Oro City kay Rowena Bacosa, single mother, at biological father na si Manny Pacquiao, na had brief relationship with Rowena during complicated period sa mid-1990s, when Manny's relationship status with Jinky was murky, relationship na resulted in pregnancy na Rowena carried to term at raised EMAN essentially alone without financial support, or pabla. I see acknowledgement from Manny for next approximately 30 taon, hanggang DNA testing noong 2023, finally confirmed paternity, publicly triggering massive media coverage at eventual reluctant integration into Pacquiao family. Lumaki si EMAN sa working-class circumstances knowing who biological father was, pero unable to claim connection, psychological burden na shaped personality. Friends describe him as unusually serious, sometimes bitter about fairness, fiercely independent, determined to prove capability without advantages others had. After public revelation noong 2023 at subsequent integration sa Pacquiao family, now was emotionally complicated involving tensions particularly with half-brother Jimwell, who resented EMAN receiving attention at opportunities. EMAN gradually built modest public profile primarily through brand endorsements, deals with Jollibee, Swatch, Adidas, Bench, others worth approximately 35 million pesos annually, based primarily on compelling underdog narrative rather than any particular tale, NT. At occasional television appearances as guest or personality, rather than trained performer. By early 2026, he was recognizable celebrity, pero not major star, someone who attended industry events, pero wasn't typically center of attention, comfortable enough sa showbiz circles pero still somewhat outsider given relatively recent entry at unconventional path to fame. Si Jillian Ward meanwhile had completely different trajectory. Ipinanganak noong Pebrero 23, 2000, meaning she was approximately 6 years younger than EMAN. Sa Manila sa family na, while not wealthy, was middle-class stable. Father was businessman, mother was former teacher. Showed early interest sa performing leading parents to bring her to talent auditions when she was approximately 5 years old. Napansin siya ng talent scouts from GMA Artist Center at began appearing sa various shows as child actress starting 2006 when she was only 6 years old, cute, precocious kid who could memorize lines and take direction well, appearing sa programs like Novela and Kokak, various supporting roles. Big break came noong 2009 when she was cast as lead sa Trudis Liit, fantasy drama series about young girl with magical powers, role that required significant acting range para sa 9-year-old. Pero which Jillian handled impressively. Series became hit, attracting strong viewership, particularly among families with children. Jillian became legitimate child star, face recognizable throughout Philippines, earning significant income for family, reportedly approximately 20 to 30,000. pesos per taping day, which for child working regularly meant substantial monthly earnings. At establishing career foundation, through early teenage years, 2010-2015, Jillian continued working consistently sa various GMA projects. Daldalita, Villa Quintana, Princess and I, multiple shows where she played supporting or lead child roles, developing skills as actress, building fan base, earning reputation as professional, reliable performer who showed up prepared at hit marks consistently, valuable traits at demanding television production schedules. Pero like many child stars faced challenging transition period around age 15 to 13, when too old for cute kid roles, pero not yet established as adult leading lady. Period kung saan work slowed temporarily, creating anxiety about whether career would survive transition. Successfully navigated transition through combination ng continued skill development, took acting workshops, voice lessons, dance training to expand capabilities, at strategic project selection, including youth-oriented shows like Alamat ng Tubig at Kambal Sirena, na featured teenage characters, allowing gradual shift toward more mature roles. By 2018, when she was 20 years old, successfully established as young adult actress capable of carrying romantic comedy roles, cast sa her first major leading lady project, Mundo Mo'y Akin, opposite established young actor, series that performed well ratings-wise. It confirmed Jillian's viability as adult star. From 2018-2025, Jillian worked consistently sa multiple teleseries at occasional films, building solid if not spectacular career. She wasn't megastar level like some contemporaries, pero was consistently employed working actress with strong fan base, professional reputation, steady income, reportedly approximately 2 to 3 million pesos annually, from combination ng acting work, endorsements, personal appearances, enough to live comfortably at support family. Personal life she kept relatively private, dated occasionally pero no serious public relationships, maintained close relationship with family who still managed career through trusted manager, had close circle ng non-showbiz friends from childhood, reputation as down-to-earth despite fame, described by colleagues as professional, kind, funny sa private, pero somewhat reserved publicly. By Enero 2026, when party encounter occurred, Jillian was 26, established actress pero also at slight career crossroads. Recent projects had performed adequately pero not spectacularly, was looking for a breakthrough role that would elevate to next level. Management was actively seeking compelling project that could reinvigorate public interest. Simultaneously, EMAN at 31 was also looking for direction beyond just endorsement deals. Wanted to prove capability beyond trading on Pacquiao name. Was considering various opportunities including possibly acting despite limited training. Was open to projects that might establish legitimate career beyond famous surname. Neither had any particular connection before party encounter. Moved in somewhat different circles despite both being the entertainment industry periphery. Jillian embedded deeply sa GMA Network ecosystem, while EMAN was more free agent floating between different projects. No previous professional collaboration or even significant social interaction. Essentially strangers who happened to both be invited to same industry event because both had sufficient name recognition to merit inclusion on guest list. The actual collision happened approximately 2 oras into party around 21:30. EMAN had been talking with group ng brand representatives about potential new endorsement deal, had excused himself to get fresh drink from bar area, distracted scrolling through phone checking messages while walking, not paying attention to surroundings. Admittedly rude behavior, pero common sa modern context where everyone constantly checking phones. Simultaneously, Jillian had been talking with fellow actress Frie. Ends near bar area at turned to walk toward restroom area, also looking down at phone, responding to manager's message about next day's call time. Both rounded corner from different directions at exactly same moment, resulting in collision. Kung saan EMAN's shoulder hit Jillian's arm, causing her to stumble slightly at wine glass she was holding, to tip dangerously toward spilling on her dress, expensive-looking white cocktail dress that wine stain would obviously ruin. EMAN reacted purely on reflex. Right hand shot out, catching wine glass before it tipped completely. Left hand went to Jillian's elbow, steadying her balance. Actions na took maybe 1 second pero required decent coordination. At then moment of recognition where both looked up from phones and saw who they'd collided with. Brief pause where EMAN registered, "Oh, that's Jillian Ward, actress I've seen on TV at billboards." At Jillian registered, "Oh, that's EMAN Bacosa, Pacquiao's son who's been in news lately." At then both started apologizing simultaneously. Sorry, my fault completely," EMAN said, releasing wine glass once sure she had it steady, stepping back slightly. "Wasn't watching where I was going, classic mistake." No, I wasn't paying attention either," Jillian responded, smiling to show no harm done. "Thank you for catching glass. Would have been disaster on this dress." Her tone was warm, genuinely appreciative rather than celebrity polite. Should have ended there. Brief exchange, mutual smiles, both move on. Pero something about moment made both pause slightly longer than necessary. EMAN found himself noticing details. Way her smile reached eyes suggesting genuine amusement rather than forced politeness. Slight dimple so right cheek when she smiled fully. Fact that she was actually shorter than appeared on TV, maybe approximately 5'2". Based on fact that she was wearing heels pero still had to tilt head up to maintain eye contact with him at approximately 5'9". Jillian found herself noticing that EMAN had kind eyes and actually focused on her face rather than scanning room for more important people to network with like many industry people did. That his apology seemed genuinely mortified rather than perfunctory. That he had good instincts based on quick reflexes saving wine glass. Awkward pause stretched maybe 3 segundos. Both seeming to search for something else to say to extend conversation slightly, pero not having obvious topic. At then photographer from entertainment website called out, "EMAN, Jillian, quick photo." Request na immediately broke moment, bringing both back to reality of industry event where every interaction was potential content. Both turned toward camera, smiled professionally, posed briefly. EMAN's arm went automatically though lightly around Jillian's shoulders, a standard celebrity photo pose. Jillian leaned slightly toward him, maintaining polite distance. Multiple flashes went off, capturing images. At then both separated, exchanged one more smile with, "Nice to meet you." "You too." At moved on to separate conversations with other guests. Entire interaction lasted maybe 2 minuto total. Unmemorable encounter between two celebrities at industry party. Would have been completely forgotten. Except for fact that approximately 5 entertainment journalists at photographers strategically positioned throughout venue specifically to capture candid celebrity interactions for gossip coverage, witnessed entire exchange at immediately recognized potential story. Photos at brief description would be posted online within hours at publing. Shedsa entertainment websites at gossip columns next morning with headlines like EMAN Bacosa at Jillian Ward sweet moments a party. At New Love Team alert, EMAN and Jillian spotted KILIG together, deliberately framing brief collision as something more romantic than actual content warranted. Pero knowing that even hint ng potential romance between recognizable personalities would generate engagement. At indeed, when photos were published next morning, January 26, public reaction was immediate and enthusiastic. Thousands ng comments on social media posts sharing photos. Overwhelming majority expressing positive sentiments like, "Bagay sila. Ang cute ng interaction nila. Ship ko na. Sana maging totoo. GMA mag-project kayo please." Combination ng EMAN's compelling underdog narrative at Jillian's girl next door wholesome image, apparently creating appealing pairing sa public imagination, and demographics ng their respective fan bases complementing well. EMAN's fans were largely working-class people inspired by his story, plus Pacquiao boxing fans. Jillian's fans were largely young women who'd grown up watching her, plus families who appreciated wholesome content. Combined audience creating broad potential appeal. Pagkatapos ng immediate public reaction sa published photos ng brief party encounter, ang entertainment industry machinery ay immediately kicked into gear, recognizing commercial potential ng unexpected public enthusiasm para sa EMAN-Jillian pairing. Kasi sa Philippine showbiz context kung saan love teams ay proven formula para sa generating sustained audience interest, merchandise sales, advertising revenue, at box office returns, as demonstrated by successful pairings like Kath Neal earning hundreds of millions through teleseries at films over years of partnership. Any hint ng public appetite para sa new love team automatically triggered strategic calculations from managers, network executives, at producers about how to capitalize on organic interest before momentum faded. At within literally 2 days after photos were published, meaning by Enero 28, 2026, both EMAN's talent manager, Miranda Santos, 28 years sa industry, sharp businesswoman who had signed EMAN after public acknowledgement recognizing commercial potential ng his narrative, at Jillian's longtime manager, Tita Carmen Rodriguez, approximately 50 years old, maternal figure who had managed Jillian since childhood at protected career carefully, were receiving inquiries from GMA Network executives about possibility ng deliberately pairing talents for upcoming project, inquiries that initially both managers treated cautiously because manufacturing chemistry is risky. If public senses for said pairing without genuine connection, backlash can damage both careers, pero which became more serious when initial audience research showed genuinely strong positive response to potential pairing, suggesting organic rather than manufactured interest. Miranda called EMAN on January 29th, approximately a patnaro after party, to discuss emerging opportunity. EMAN, may something ako kailangan discuss. You saw photos from Marco Santos' party circulating online? EMAN confirmed he had. Hindi naman siya completely oblivious to social media. Nakita multiple posts though honestly didn't think much of them beyond mild embarrassment at being caught not watching where was walking. Well, Miranda continued, public response has been surprisingly strong. Thousands ng positive comments shipping you with Jillian Ward at GMA has reached out expressing interest in potentially developing teleserye project specifically designed around you two as love team. This could be significant opportunity. Leading roles a primetime series, substantial exposure, potential to establish you as legitimate actor beyond just endorsement personality. EMAN's initial reaction was skeptical. Miranda, I'm not actor. I've done few guest appearances pero never actual acting role. Hindi ba obvious kung suddenly mag-lead role ako na purely trading on Pacquiao name at public curiosity? Miranda acknowledged point pero countered, true pero consider, you're 31 years old. Realistically, brand endorsement opportunities have shelf life, especially as public moves on to next interesting personality. Need to build sustainable career beyond just trading on novelty ng Pacquiao connection. Acting provides path toward that. At honestly, maraming successful actors started with limited training. On-the-job learning sa teleserye is how many developed skills. Plus, if paired with experienced actress like Jillian who can help carry scenes workable. Simultaneously, Tita Carmen was having similar pero slightly different conversation with Jillian on that same day. Anak, you aware ng social media buzz about you at EMAN Bacosa? Jillian confirmed. Friends had sent her multiple posts at screenshots. Found it amusing pero didn't take seriously given the interaction was literally accidental collision lasting 2 minutes. GMA is interested sa developing project around you too, Carmen continued. Romantic comedy drama series targeting primetime slot, substantial production budget, potential for extended run if ratings perform. For your career, this could be exactly breakthrough opportunity we've been looking for. Fresh pairing generating buzz, chance to reach EMAN's fan base which is different demographic from your usual viewers, potentially expanding audience, leading lady roles a major project. Jillian's reaction was more conflicted than EMAN's. Tita Carmen, I understand business logic pero isn't this ethically questionable? Literally bumped into guy accidentally. Exchanged maybe 10 sentences total. 0 actual connection. At now network wants to manufacture romance for ratings? At what about EMAN? He's not trained actor. Paano ko magtrabaho with someone who doesn't have experience? Won't that make my work harder? Carmen acknowledged concerns pero urged pragmatism. Entertainment industry is ultimately business. Love teams are business model that works. Yes, some chemistry is manufactured initially, pero many successful pairings developed genuine friendship at working relationship over time, making content authentic, even if origin was calculated. At regarding EMAN's inexperience, that's actually advantage in some ways. Hindi siya may bad habits from training, moldable, at public is invested sa his journey, so they'll forgive initial awkwardness. Plus, you're experienced enough to help guide. Both Eman and Jillian ultimately agreed to exploratory meeting with GMA executives scheduled for February 3, approximately week after party encounter. Meeting na technically wasn't commitment, pero was significant first step toward potential collaboration. Neither had met each other again since party. No private contact, no phone numbers exchanged. Essentially still strangers connected only by brief collision at manufactured public narrative about potential chemistry. Meeting was held sa GMA Network compound sa Quezon City, conference room with approximately 10 attendees, Eman with Miranda, Jillian with Tita Carmen, tatlong network executives including head of entertainment production, dalawang potential show writers, creators pitching concept, at director being considered for project. Atmosphere was professional pero also slightly awkward given that Eman and Jillian were being asked to consider romantic partnership without having any actual relationship foundation, both greeting each other politely, pero with visible uncertainty about situation. Network executive, Sharon Martinez, 50 years old, veteran producer with multiple hit shows sa resume, opened meeting with characteristic directness. Thank you all for coming. Let's be honest about what this is. We're exploring commercial viability ng Eman-Jillian pairing based on strong public response to candid party photos. Normally, we'd develop love team more organically through supporting roles building toward lead pairing, pero public interest is already peaked, so opportunity exists to move quickly. We've commissioned audience research, gestured to data printouts distributed around table, showing demographics ng both your fan bases are complementary with minimal overlap, suggesting combined reach would be substantial. Additionally, narrative framing writes itself. Eman as charming pero flawed underdog seeking redemption, Jillian as accomplished professional woman who challenges him to grow. Classic opposites attract dynamic. One of writers, Carlos Bautista, approximately apatnapu, successful teleserye writer with multiple hit shows, presented story concept they'd developed speculatively anticipating potential green light. Working title Proving Ground. Story follows Eman's character, let's say Miguel, semi-professional boxer with complicated family legacy, trying to prove himself independent ng famous father, financially struggling pero prideful. Jillian's character, tentatively Andrea, successful sports journalist assigned to profile him for magazine feature, initially skeptical about his motives and abilities, pero through forced proximity for story coverage, gradually discovers his genuine struggles and develops respect, then feelings. Conflict comes from both internal, his insecurity about living sa father's shadow, her professional skepticism about athletes using media for image rehabilitation, and external including disapproving family members, media scrutiny, competing romantic interests. Approximately 80 episodes kung successful, primetime slot. Substantial production budget approximately 20 million pesos total. Framework was professionally developed, hitting familiar teleserye beats, class difference, professional conflict, family drama, slow burn romance, built-in obstacles to maintain tension over extended episode run, pero also clearly constructed specifically around Eman and Jillian's public personas, meaning success would depend entirely on whether they could see chemistry convincingly. Sharon addressed this directly. Critically, this only works kung meron authentic connection between leads. We've all seen failed love teams where forced pairing was obvious to audiences. Ratings disaster. So before moving forward, need honest assessment from both of you. Do you think you could develop working relationship at minimum, potentially genuine chemistry? Awkward silence stretched approximately 10 seconds. Both Eman and Jillian glancing at each other uncertainly, until Jillian spoke first with characteristic directness. To be completely honest, I barely know Eman. We met once, accidentally, for 2 minutes. I can't possibly assess chemistry based on that. What I can say is that he seems professional at kind based on limited interaction, which is good foundation. Pero whether that translates to romantic chemistry viewers will believe? Would need time working together to know. Eman appreciated honesty and echoed sentiment. Same. Jillian seems talented at professional, obvious from her career. Pero chemistry isn't something you can manufacture immediately. Would need to actually work together, Do script readings, rehearsals, see how we interact. Sharon nodded. Response was exactly what she expected. That's fair. Here's what I propose. 2-week trial period starting next Monday, Pebrero 9. You'll do daily script readings with Carlos writing material specifically for your dynamics. Work with director on basic scenes. Chemistry tests that will film, pero not broadcast, just for internal assessment. End of 2 weeks, everyone assesses honestly whether this is viable. If chemistry is there, we greenlight full production targeting April premiere. If not, no hard feelings, we shelve project. This protects everyone. You're not committing to 80 episodes of misery if connection doesn't work. We're not investing millions a doomed project. Fair? Both EMAN and Jillian agreed to trial period, low-risk commitment that allowed exploration without full commitment. Following week leading up to February 9th start date, both began preparing in different ways. EMAN, anxious about acting inexperience, hired private acting coach for intensive crash course. Direct Tony Reyes, retired actor-director, approximately 65 years old who had trained multiple successful actors, worked with EMAN 3 hours daily teaching absolute basics. Script analysis, character motivation, blocking, hitting marks, camera awareness, emotional access techniques. You're raw, Tony assessed honestly after first session, pero that's not entirely negative. No bad habits to unlearn, just need to teach fundamentals quickly. Jillian, meanwhile, prepared differently. Rewatched some of EMAN's limited television appearances to study mannerisms at speaking patterns, read extensive background on his life story to understand character inspiration, had honestly spent considerable time thinking about how she felt about entire situation. Part of her was excited, new challenge, potential breakthrough project, financially lucrative opportunity. Pero part was uncomfortable with manufactured nature, with pressure to develop feelings on schedule for cameras, with losing control over narrative ng her own romantic life. Shared concerns with close friend, fellow actress Patricia Mendoza, who offered perspective. Look, worst case scenario. It's professional acting job where you pretend to have feelings you don't actually feel. You've done that to every romantic project. Acting is literally professional pretending. Best case, maybe genuine connection develops naturally, making work easier and more fulfilling. Either way, it's opportunity. Just maintain boundaries between professional and personal. Protect yourself emotionally. First day ng trial period February 9. Brought both participants to GMA rehearsal studio approximately 9 a.m. Noticeably nervous energy from both. Carlos at director, Marco Santos, same director who had thrown party where they met. Ready to begin chemistry assessment process. Started simple, table reading ng first episode script to assess how voices sounded together, how natural dialogue felt, whether personalities meshed or clashed. Reading lasted approximately 3 hours with multiple breaks. It genuinely went better than expected. EMAN struggled with some technical aspects like pacing and emotional modulation, pero showed good instincts to character choices. Jillian was predictably professional but also generous scene partner, giving him reactions to play off. Banter between them during breaks was easy, suggesting potential for comfortable working relationship. Sa mga sumusunod na araw ng 2-week trial period mula Pebrero 9 to Pebrero 23, 2026, ang dynamic between EMAN and Jillian ay gradually evolved sa ways na surprised both of them at everyone observing chemistry testing process. Kasi initial expectation from network executives and even from participants themselves was that trial would primarily serve as technical assessment ng whether EMAN could competently deliver lines at hit marks sufficiently para hindi maging embarrassing disaster requiring Jillian to carry entire show through acting ability alone, at whether audiences viewing test footage would accept pairing despite manufactured origins, pero what actually developed over daily rehearsals, script readings, filmed chemistry tests, ay something more complex and potentially more valuable than mere technical competence. Genuine, comfortable rapport between two people who discovered they actually enjoyed each other's company beyond professional obligations. Connection that, while not necessarily romantic in a meaningful sense, was authentic friendship, providing foundation that could sell romantic storyline convincingly, even if underlying feelings weren't literally real. Ewan himself entered trial period with significant anxiety about acting inexperience and worry about being exposed as fraud trading. purely on Pacquiao name without actual talent, found that Jillian was unexpectedly generous at patient scene partner who actively helped rather than merely tolerated his learning process. She would suggest line readings that felt more natural during rehearsals, demonstrate blocking that made scenes flow better, offer emotional context for character motivations. Had helped him access appropriate feelings for scenes, supportive approach that made learning environment feel safe rather than judgmental. At beyond technical help, she was genuinely pleasant person to spend 8 hours daily with during intensive rehearsal schedule. Funny sa subtle dry way during breaks. Unpretentious despite years sa industry, willing to engage sa substantive conversations about topics beyond showbiz gossip during lunch breaks, including discussions about his boxing background, and her experience transitioning from child star, shared interests a surprisingly specific topic ng urban planning issues sa Metro Manila, which both had opinions about given traffic nightmares affecting everyone. Jillian meanwhile found that EMAN was more interesting than expected. Initial assumption was that he'd be typical showbiz personality na entered industry through connections rather than talent and would approach work with entitled attitude expecting accommodation for lack of ability. Pero reality was that he was deeply insecure about lacking formal training, which manifested as intense work ethic, trying to compensate through preparation and effort, showing up to rehearsals having memorized not just his own lines but entire scenes, asking thoughtful questions about character psychology, demonstrating genuine interests a craft beyond just collecting paycheck at intellectually more substantial than she anticipated based on limited public persona. During breaks engaged sa conversations about topics like class inequality, immigrant experiences given family's background, sports psychology from boxing context, discussions that revealed person who actually thought critically about world rather than just existing sa celebrity bubble. More significantly, she found his vulnerability about insecurities refreshing compared to typical showbiz machismo. He openly admitted when confused about direction or unsure about emotional beat, asked for help without defensive posturing, accepted criticism non-defensively, emotional availability that made working together easier, pero also that was personally attractive sa way she hadn't anticipated. By approximately araw 8 ng trial period around Pebrero 17, both recognized something was developing beyond pure professional collaboration, not necessarily romantic feelings sa clear sense, pero definitely attraction combining physical awareness with genuine liking as people with comfortable intimacy that made acting romantic scenes less awkward than typically was with new scene partner. Realization that was simultaneously exciting, kasi made work easier at concerning kasi blurred lines between and professional performance at personal feelings sa ways that could become complicated, especially given that entire relationship was public from inception, creating pressure at scrutiny that private relationship wouldn't face. Carlos, the writer, at Direct Marco both noticed shift. Energy between EMAN and Jillian during filmed rehearsals had moved from technically competent pero slightly stilted to genuinely warm with natural chemistry, visible even sa rough takes. Eye contact during romantic dialogue felt authentic rather than performative. Physical proximity during tender scenes. Hand-holding, embraces, near kisses choreographed but not yet actually intimate. Registered as comfortable rather than awkward. Micro-express. Signs of genuine affection slipping through even between takes when cameras were technically not rolling, though actually still recording for coverage, suggesting feelings weren't purely manufactured for performance. Sharon Martinez, head ng entertainment production, who was monitoring progress daily through footage reports at director feedback, called status meeting on February 18th partway through trial to assess whether proceeding with full production was warranted. I've reviewed approximately 20 oras ng test footage, she told assembled group including EMAN, Jillian, managers, director, writers. Assessment is decisively positive. Chemistry is genuine and compelling. EMAN has exceeded minimum competency threshold, actually showing real potential with proper support. Jillian is luminous as expected, pero also clearly enjoying partnership which elevates both performances. Audiences viewing sample clips in test screenings respond extremely positively with overwhelming majority, expressing strong interest sa full series. Therefore, recommendation is to greenlight full production. 80 episodes initially with option for extension if ratings warrant. Target premiere April 15th, giving us approximately annum weeks for intensive pre-production at filming first-month episodes. Primetime slot Mondays at Tuesdays, 8 hours p.m. Production budget approved at 22 million pesos total. This announcement, transitioning from exploratory trial to committed full production, carried significant implications for both leads. King what had been low-stakes experimentation into serious professional commitment, consuming approximately 8 to 10 months ng daily work if series ran full 80 episodes as planned, at also crystallizing public narrative about their relationship, kasi network would naturally promote series aggressively highlighting love team angle, creating intensive media coverage at fan investment sa couple that would pressure maintaining consistent public image as romantic partners, even outside filming, are reality that both EMAN and Jillian needed to confront directly before committing. Tita Carmen raised concern explicitly. Sharon, before clients commit, need to address elephants in room. Network will expect them to maintain couple image publicly during series run for promotional purposes, meaning public appearances together, social media content suggesting real relationship, fan service that blurs professional at personal boundaries, need explicit understanding of expectations at boundaries. Sharon appreciated directness at addressed forthrightly. Fair question deserves honest answer. Yes, standard network expectation for love teams is that they maintain romantic narrative publicly, because audiences are more invested when they believe relationship might be real. Kath Neal built empire partially on strategic ambiguity about whether dating in real life. Liz Quinn same approach, proven model. What we expect: joint promotional appearances looking couple-like, social media posts showing you together outside work, creating impression ng friendship, at minimum possibly romance, interviews where you speak warmly about each other at deflect, but don't deny relationship speculation. What we don't expect or require: actual romantic relationship, dishonest statements about being together if not true, continuation of couple image after series concludes, if choose not to. Essentially asking for approximately 1 year ng managing public perception strategically, but not demanding you compromise actual personal lives beyond reasonable professional image management. EMAN found this answer somewhat troubling. Understood business logic pero also felt uncomfortable with organized deception of audiences who would invest emotionally believing something potentially untrue, pero also recognized that virtually all entertainment involves performance at selective truth, that maintaining privacy about actual relationship status while allowing public to speculate wasn't necessarily dishonest, just strategic boundary management. If we do this, he addressed Sharon directly, can we agree that we won't explicitly lie about relationship status? Meaning we won't claim to be dating if we're not, pero we also won't aggressively deny if relationship develops naturally, we're allowed to keep actual status private. Basically strategic ambiguity rather than fabrication? Sharon agreed readily. Strategic ambiguity was exactly what network preferred anyway, since definitive answers either way reduced audience investment. Absolutely acceptable. Para sa inyo, Jillian? Jillian had been processing throughout exchange, recognizing that decision point was real. Commit to project meant committing not just to acting work, pero also to carefully managed public image para sa extended period. Loss of privacy at control over romantic narrative. Pressure to maintain consistency that could become exhausting. Pero also represented significant career opportunity, financial security, at honestly chance to explore potential genuine connection with EMAN in context that while artificially structured might still produce authentic relationship if feelings developed naturally. After approximately 30 seconds ng silence, she decided, I'm in, pero with clear boundaries. We're honest with each other privately about actual feelings at status even if we manage public perception strategically. We protect each other's well-being and don't let network pressure push us into actually uncomfortable situations. We reserve right to end couple image publicly if series concludes that we choose to pursue separate paths. Deal? Everyone agreed to terms. Contracts were prepared for signing. Production timeline was established. Suddenly what had been speculative trial became concrete reality. Eman and Jillian were officially love team with all business entanglements, public expectations, at personal complications that implied, and as they left meeting together approximately 6 p.m. heading to parking area, found themselves in unexpected private moment without handlers or cameras, brief opportunity for honest conversati on about what they were getting into. "So we're really doing this," Eman said, say neutral observation tone. Jillian laughed slightly nervously. "Apparently. Feeling surreal. 2 weeks ago didn't know you existed beyond vaguely recognizing name. Now committed to playing your love interests at 80 episodes plus promotional boyfriend for next year. Showbiz is weird." Eman smiled. "Definitely weird. Pero honestly, could be worse. You're talented, professional, actually enjoyable to work with. Attractive, which helps sell romantic scenes, though probably inappropriate for me to say directly. It seemed like decent person beyond work. If network decided to randomly pair me with someone, you're good outcome." Jillian felt slight warmth, a compliment, pero also uncertainty about whether interpreting flirtation or just friendly collegiality. "Thank you. Same assessment about you, actually. Question though, are we going to talk honestly about what's happening between us personally or just pretend it's purely professional, even though everyone including us can see there's some attraction developing?" This directness caught Eman slightly off guard, pero also relieved him. Preferred straightforward communication over ambiguity. Prefer honesty. Obvious na may chemistry beyond just acting competence, whether that's genuine mutual attraction versus just good professional rapport that creates convincing performance. Honestly, not sure yet. Barely know each other despite intensive week together. Pero may be worth exploring carefully as project progresses, see what develops naturally. Jillian agreed. Careful exploration sounds reasonable, with explicit understanding that we're both protecting ourselves emotionally, given complicated context. If feelings develop, great. Pero if not, we're professional colleagues who can still deliver convincing performance. No pressure beyond what we're putting on ourselves. They shook hands, somewhat formally sealing agreement, both aware that what they were about to embark on was social experiment as much as professional project. Could manufactured romance become real romance if given time at genuine connection? Or would business requirements ultimately corrupt any authentic feelings that tried to develop?